Hello, winners, and welcome to Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Will, where we share international insight and perspectives on things such as leadership and mindset with Monday Mindset, Wanderlust Wednesday when we talk about the travel and the travel business, and Fanatic Friday when we talk about sports. Happy Wednesday, Nick.
Happy Wednesday, Will. Happy Wednesday, winners.
Yeah, excited to talk about today's Wanderlust Wednesday topic of river cruises. But before we jump into that, please remember that each episode we publish on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Each one's about 20 to 30 minutes in length, so you can plan your day accordingly. Please be sure to subscribe, share, and follow the Two for Women podcast so that you know when the episodes drop. And if you feel so inclined, we'd love to have reviews and let us know what you think of the podcast and share your thoughts as well as feedback of things you want us to cover. That said, today's episode is sponsored by Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations. Thank you, Nick Menard and Associates.
You're welcome.
Hey. So there we have it. So today's topic is river cruises. And so I think many people are very familiar with ocean cruises and doing that. I just came back from a recent ocean cruise, which we'll talk about in a future podcast episode. But, I know you're very familiar with river cruises, both personally as well as the dream experiences you create for clients. So in your mind, maybe give our winners a quick overview. What is river cruises and what are the advantages of river cruises compared to other type of cruises like ocean cruises or other vacation types?
Sure. Great question. So here living in the United States, everybody knows when we talk about cruise, we never even mention ocean cruise. It's cruise. Mm-hmm. So cruising is going on those large, big boats, these big ships, and then go to Paradise Islands or stuff like that, and then, sunshine. But it's all big, like massive ships, 10 floors, 14 floors, 15 floors now with the last few ones, and, a million restaurants and bars, which is great. But it's another dynamic to go to a river cruising. Of course, if it's on a river, you can expect the ship to be a lot smaller, be more intimate, having maybe less variety of restaurants, but having better food because you have like a chef who is actually cooking every day for you. So it's another kind of experience to do those things. So river cruising, yes, Europe is famous for it, but you can do that also in America. Like, for example, Mississippi River, it's a very famous one that you can go river cruising in the Mississippi. And believe it or not, it's very popular. And then also, of course, other places in the world, in Asia, in Africa with the Nile, that is very popular in Egypt. When you go and you can see the pyramids and then experience Egypt through cruising. So those are the different variety of river cruising that you can experience. But during this Q&A session, you will learn a lot about what is to expect with those cruises.
On the river cruises, when they have the on-ship entertainment, is it a banjo? And for the Mississippi River cruise,
actually, it is.
Is it?
you have part of this on the Mississippi River. That's like movies.
Yeah.
When you see on movies, on the Mississippi River, when you see those ships with those flags hanging, on the side, it's actually exactly like that.
Yeah, Duck Dynasty. Mm-hmm. They're good.
It is.
No, it's all good. So when you think about how accessible are the ports, for river cruising, let's maybe focus on the European river cruising because that's actually one I'm considering for next year. But, how much time can you expect in those ports and what are some of the attractions and maybe paint the picture for our winners about maybe river cruising in Europe specifically?
Great question. So the big difference when you go to ocean cruising, usually you arrive early morning, 6 a.m., and then you leave around 4 or 5 p.m. Or at least you need to get back on the ship around 4 or 5 p.m. River cruising is very different. So the access of those ports are I wouldn't say port, more deck, like dock, are very easy. So you literally stop, for example, when you are in France and you stop at Paris, you literally stop under the Eiffel Tower or next to the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, really?
So you literally stop You go out, you walk 5 minutes, you are under the Eiffel Tower. And then, so you can experience the heart of the place you want to visit. And then you come back on the ship and leave. So you are able to make multi-stop during the day, if possible. Some, depending, again, like ocean cruising, you have some where you stay all day, some where you do 3-4 stops a day. So it depends the one you want. But the advantage is that you can literally go exactly where you want to be, come back on the ship and go to the next place and see the Arc de Triomphe or see the Louvre or see something like Chateau de Versailles, or you can see different places the same day without having to drive around, to drag your luggage or anything like that. You just see it, you stay an hour, 2 hours, you come back on the ship and the ship leaves, or the boat leaves.
Yeah.
So usually you have, depending which one, you can have like as little as 100, 150 passengers, so you can have those bigger one who are like 800 passengers, but it's a lot smaller than those 5, 6, 7,000 passengers that you have in ocean cruising.
That sounds cool. Do they on the French River cruise? Do they have a mine where there's his entertainment? He just goes there. Next.
Man, that's the image you have on
France.
French.
Yeah.
But you have amazing. I mean, river cruising. Look, I was fortunate enough to experience a few of them. Budapest is very famous when you go to the Danube. Of course, you have the Reims, like in France. You go like all the way up to Amsterdam. You have something we need to definitely talk about, is for me the best time of the year to river cruising is during the Christmas markets.
Yes, I wanted to bring that up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the Christmas market cruising is going from the first week of December to the 26th of December. So you only can go like 3.5 weeks a year, but it's extremely popular because you stop in each region. So usually you can go France, Germany, Belgium, Holland, and you end it in London. You have also the same thing in the south, but it's less popular, like to go to Italy and Spain, because they also have their own Christmas market. But Christmas market, for me, it needs to have also the temperature go with it, which is bad, but it's cold. So when you are in those cities, everything is decorated for Christmas. You have those little stands where you can drink like any kind of hot alcohol. So it's kind of very different.
That hot wine.
Yeah.
It is different.
That's very different, but that's very popular. And then you have all those stands with like specific Christmas cookies. Like we talked about cookie a few episodes ago, I think. or Christmas, specific like bakery stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's something you can only have 3 weeks a year. And it's something that is extremely, like I mentioned, is extremely popular. If you want to book that for next year, it's probably already right now like 75-80% sold out. So you need to book definitely a year and a half, 2 years in advance to make sure to have room for those, because it's only 3 weeks a year. So of course, those are going away very, very fast. But it's definitely something to experience because it's something unique.
Yeah, no, and with that being said, trying to book a river cruise for next year and already being 75 to 80% booked. So winners, if you have interest in doing the Christmas River Cruise, please contact Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations. And if you mention Two for the Win, my guess is you get a little incentive. What that will be, I will leave it up to Nick Menard and Associates to tell you. But please make sure you check it out and dial it in if you're interested. I guess let's build upon, you touched on this already, but maybe go a little deeper. What makes river cruising an appealing option for different types of travelers, whether it's families or solo travelers or seniors? Like, what are maybe some of the differences where somebody should maybe consider the river cruise? You talked about the smaller ship, but there's probably in the food, obviously, but maybe there's some other things people need to think about, like excursions. Are they similar to how it is on a regular ocean cruise or different things like that?
So majority of those river cruising, when you book, you pay for the package includes pretty much everything excursion wise. So you have at least one excursion per stop who are included in there. And of course, it's a lot less people. So you have more private guides if you wish to have a private guide who will explain you everything you need to know about the destination. You have also, for me, the biggest advantage, definitely someone coming from the US. and probably don't go to Europe like every year or every other year, is the advantage to visit a lot of different specific regions without having to travel, like meaning backpacking or having a car or just, having the luggage in and out every day, dragging all of this, which is for me, it's a pain. And the feedback from a lot of my clients is I should have done a river cruise instead of doing the full itinerary. Like I build itinerary all the time and it's amazing, but you will need to understand that it's going to be very tiring because if you have kids, you mentioned if you have kids are not easy when you need to pack every day, sleeping at a place, then unpack, repack it the day after, going in a 3-4 hour drive or going to the train station, having 3 or 4 hours train, to go to the next destination, then unpack, drag those luggage to the hotel, go visit for a couple of hours, you're tired, you take a nap. It's a lot of work and a lot of things to take into consideration. If you do a river cruising, you can see all those different cities and experience everything that needs to be seen in each cities. You leave everything in the ship. You go out, you see what you need to see. You come back, you see the next destination. You have very, very good meal at lunch, at dinner. If you want to eat outside, you eat outside, but it's up to you. But you have everything included. So for elderly people, extremely popular, of course, because they definitely don't want to drag nothing.
Yeah, smaller ship too,
exactly.
easier to get around.
For family, like I said, they don't have to worry about kids. Again,
needing a vacation after the vacation.
Exactly. So there you have some. We will talk about the variety of cruise line that you can go on. The most popular ones. Some are no kids. It's like Virgin for ocean cruising. River cruising have also one Viking who it's under 18, only over 18 only. But you have others where they accept children. But it's more an adult atmosphere, I would say. Couple, perfect for couple. Again, for the same reasons. The kind of guided tours are extremely specific and those people do that all year long. They know what people need to see, need to hear, and they do a great job doing that. And you have that relationship with the guide because the guide are on the ship with you. So they literally go all year long. They usually have 2 sets of guides, 6 months, 6 months. So you are working, actually it's 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, 3 months. So they're working 3 months, they off 3 months, they're working 3 months, but they work every day for 3 months. And so those people, they know everything and more. And they, you eat with them at night, like you have like that atmosphere with more familiar atmosphere than you have an ocean ship, which is impossible with the kind of the amount of people.
Yeah.
But if you don't like to talk to people, you can also have your own table and you decide what you want to do, and that's the beauty of it. So I would strongly suggest definitely for couples, elderly people, and single people to do river cruising. It's a great experience and nothing like it, and the food is way better than ocean cruising in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that sounds very enticing. And I like the fact that the excursions are included because sometimes it's just another thing you have to decide, and which is fine. But the fact that it's already built in, one less decision that has to be made to make it.
You can always it's like ocean cruising. You have different options, maybe not as many. You don't have 30 options per stop, but you have 5-6 options. You have one who is included, and then you have the rest that you can do on your own if you want to. But if you don't wish to do so, you don't have to, and you will be very well, you will have everything that you need if you decide to just follow the guideline.
No, that's fantastic. And then why don't we talk a little bit more about the ships? Because you mentioned Viking, there's others, but what kind of accommodations can people expect on these type of river cruise ships? Yeah,
so pretty much the same. So you have different staterooms. You have the interior very rarely. You have a lot more of ocean view, river view, or balcony. You have the suites. So you have different style. You also have a majority of those. You have the butler option if you want a 24/7 butler option, which is it's easier to do that on a river cruise than on an ocean cruise. And it's more, people are more open, clients are more open to that because it's more intimate. So they like to just say, hey, we would like to have that drink. We would like to have this. Can you make that for us? They will accommodate that a lot more than if you do ocean cruising. because ocean cruising is massive.
Yeah.
So if you do that, it's more trigger for you. Again, you have exceptions. When you do ocean cruising, you can also get that kind of treatment in some ocean cruise line. But for river cruising, it's pretty much all of them have the option to do so. So the ships are a lot smaller, like mentioned. You have a little pool usually as well. But you have a lot of, you know, group fitness.
Okay.
When people can do that on top floor. I mean, there's usually a couple of floors, and then you can have that as well. You have a lot of biking because you stop in Amsterdam or you stop in Germany. They have bikes for everybody on the ship, and then you go out and you go to a bike ride with people. It's very different atmosphere, but I love it personally.
Yeah.
And the feedback I receive, I never had a feedback negative from a client going on a river cruise. So.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Well, yeah, it definitely sounds more intimate. It's more personalized, and spend some time, doing some different things. And so you touched on like wellness facilities. Are there also spa facilities on the river cruise ships?
100%. Yeah. That's, of course, it's more trigger for like retirees who are doing that because you have more time. I mean, there's a lot of river cruising of 20, 30 days when you go from Amsterdam to Budapest. Budapest to Amsterdam is one very popular one. Is between 20 and 26 days. So depending. So you can do that. You can have river cruising with focus on wine tasting. You have river cruising on focusing on a history, on castles. You can literally name it. They have a cruise who can fit you for what you really, really want and need. And that's exciting because there's nothing you can try to do and not be able to find when you do a river cruise itinerary.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. I want to go on a river cruise where they focus on desserts. All the different desserts of the different areas. I want that one. That would be good. I'd do that for sure. So what are some things people should keep in mind in terms of time of year for river cruising? What's good time of year, maybe not so good time of year? I know that's all location specific, but things to consider.
All year long.
Yeah.
Literally all year long. Again, I mentioned Christmas market. December is extremely popular. But of course, for weather-wise, when you want to do like the Western Europe, like I mentioned, Germany, Holland, Belgium, France, those things. France is very popular for river cruising because there are a lot of rivers there. There are a lot of ways to navigate through the country. So people who like wine, for example, there is definitely a few wine river cruise tours who are in your disposition to experience. And that is better, of course, to do between May to September. If you do like Italy one, it's a little bit broader because it's a lot more like Florida kind of weather, Italy, Spain. And then if you go more north, of course, it's going to be restricted more and more to, June to September probably. But again, all year long, you can experience river cruising. It's going to be another kind of experience, but you can definitely experience each seasons.
That sounds really cool. And then I'm assuming, but I could be assuming wrong, because it's smaller ships, probably not so much to have to deal with people who suffer from motion sickness, I would imagine.
No, a lot less. Yeah. A lot less. I'm someone who feel the ship moving every cruise I go. Like some people are here, oh no, I don't even feel it. I don't know how they do that because I feel it. I lay down, I literally feel like I'm moving. Yeah. I don't feel it. Yeah, I move. Yeah. But some people have different, I feel everything. So I definitely, on a river cruise, a lot less.
Yeah.
A lot less.
Yeah. Calmer waters.
Yeah, you don't have like water like you have on ocean or Mediterranean or something like that. So no, definitely a lot less motion sickness to deal with.
No, makes sense. I think you said the Viking cruise line, and that's definitely more well known. What are some other river cruise vendors that people should know about?
So there are a lot, like everything, but I will say the most famous. Viking is definitely a famous one, but it's an industry now. They came up with 14 new ships since COVID started. So so you know, like it's growing. They're a huge fleet. The one that I experience the most with my clients is AMA Waterways. So
what waterways?
AMA, AMA. Okay. So AMA Waterways. I love them. I was lucky enough to meet the owners. The founders. So it's a husband and wife. The husband is from Austria and the wife is from Germany, and they literally built this from the grounds. They were both in the river cruising industry prior, and then they built this one based 100% of feedback from customers.
Okay.
So they build this. I love Ama Waterways so much. I not that Viking is not good, it's not great, but it's very different. I feel the family atmosphere a lot more. Like they listen to customers. I had a few occasions when customer came back and said, I had some specific requirement of question or change to make. They directly bend over in 25 different positions to make sure to please me on what I needed to change. And that's something that I don't hear that often. I forgot exactly the last one I had, but it was something that I was even raising my eyebrows. Like, what? You did ask that and they did it? Yes. So they accommodate everything that they possibly can. And they are traveling all year long on their ships. So they have, of course, a lot of ships. So it doesn't mean that you will meet them. But they are literally traveling. I believe when they talked to me, it was like 250 days a year they are on their ship traveling with their customers.
Wow.
So they're literally part of the experience. They take picture with they eat and drink with them. They go on excursion with them. And that's something very different than any vendors I ever worked with, river or land travels. Mm-hmm. They are really connecting with their customer base. And I think that's one of the reasons that Ama Waterways went up the last 5 to 10 years enormous because of that atmosphere. They are extremely known in Europe, of course, but they are also my favorite when it comes to the Nile in Africa.
Okay.
They have a specific ship for the Nile. So the Nile, of course, is you go and see all those pyramids.
Yeah.
They build a ship just for the Nile. It's like 4, 5, maybe 6 stories up, which is very weird for a river cruising. Usually it's flat and you have like 1 or 2 floors.
Yeah.
Here it's a lot higher and it's a lot more. It's thin.
Oh,
and
like
it's
narrow?
very narrow and high.
Okay.
Why? Because you want to be able to be elevated to see the pyramids.
Yeah.
So they create that, and this is so hard to get a spot on that ship because it's always packed.
Wow.
Like we literally need to book like more than a year in advance to have a spot on this one. But some client went and they just rave about this experience on Ama Waterways. So I would say Ama is the first one I look at, but Viking is definitely a great brand, so I'm not going to say anything negative about it. Avalon is the third one that is extremely popular in Europe and Africa as well. So, again, as a travel agent, I always try to look at the best for my customers. So what Ama may be best for customer A and maybe Viking best for customer B. Uniworld is the luxury. It's one of the luxurious river cruising that you can find. So yes, those are more triggered for people who want big comfort, like extreme butler service from start to finish, like someone who take care of them 24/7. So of course the price aligned to that as well.
Right.
But it's an option. And then other than that, after that you have everything wants to do with yacht. So you have the yacht option. So of course, the most popular now, the last couple of years, is the Ritz-Carlton yacht. So Ritz-Carlton came up with the yacht option, I think 1.5 years, 2 years ago now. And you can only imagine when it's called Ritz yacht, but it's phenomenal. I didn't have an opportunity yet to go on it, but I did sell it. And the feedback was like just wow. Like there's only suites and very limited amount of people, under 150 people or something like that, if I remember correctly, 160. And of course, you can imagine what's on the yacht. But I have a lot of vendors with yachts. So if you want to ever travel to Europe, Croatia, it's popular for yacht, and said, I want to be able to rent a yacht with a captain, there is option available in our book of business as well on that aspect. But it's something different. But talking about river cruising, I need to bring that up because that's also part of the experience. So it's going for, you don't have really like a low class, like ocean cruising may have, like more for
Entry level
for
type,
18 years old kids, for example.
Yeah.
But you do have different level, of course, like everything. But even if you go to the level 1, you will still have a fantastic experience on river cruising.
Yeah, it's exciting, and I know I've been talking to you about the Rhine River cruise and the Christmas market cruise. Like, I definitely want to get that experience because I haven't had that yet. I think the only time I was on anything on the river was one of those riverboat gambling things on the Mississippi, which is not the same.
No, it's not.
But I did hear a banjo.
You don't need to experience one anymore now. You did everything you need to.
Yeah, exactly. I guess some real quick last tidbits, like dress code, theme nights, like some of the cruises, dietary, if you have dietary restrictions or accessibility options, anything regards to that stuff you can share with our listeners.
Yeah, dietary restriction. I think, in all honesty, you can have that majority of ocean cruise as well. If you let them know in advance, you will be able to have, that's in their paper, that's in their on their computer, and they know for this table, because of course when you book something on ocean cruising, you have like table assigned to you. If you go to the main one, it's the same but even larger on the river cruising side. Since they are smaller, you have literally the chef. So when you go on river cruising, the chef introduces himself the first night to everybody, and then they're literally part of the experience, part of the trip. And then they will literally say, anybody here they can do it because it's little less people. So anybody have any kind of restriction, you set the restriction the day 1, they will follow through the restriction for the whole trip. So that's very, very, very easy to do. The clothes requirement, it depends which cruise lines. So of course, if you go to those Uniworld one, they expect you to not have sandals, like not have shorts at night and things like that. But if you go to Viking and Ama Waterways, which is they are the two most famous one for Europe, you don't have any problem. They will have one night a week. If you go to a minimum 7 to 14 nights or more, they may have once a week a night where they expect you to have a pants on instead of a short, for example.
Yeah.
If you go during the summertime, but it's not heavy. There's not too many heavy restrictions. I think the one you cannot have hats at night. Lunch, yeah, but not on dinner. You cannot have a hat, like a cap on. Yeah. But there are details like that they will let you know in advance. But I wouldn't say it's something drastically different than ocean cruising.
Okay. No, I mean, sounds fantastic. I think, for those who have been listening to this one, it's probably something, if they haven't considered it before, they may look into now because it's a different experience. But any last closing thoughts you want to share about the river cruises? What
I would share, if you've never been to Europe, for example, and you really want to experience Europe, but you don't think you will go every other year, definitely river cruising is for you. And when you look at the price, you may say, "Oh my God, it's more expensive than to go to an itinerary." For example, you want to do France, Germany, whatever. You got a quote from us on land. Then you get a quote for a cruise. The quote for a cruise will always be higher, but don't forget that it includes food. It includes even alcohol. It includes everything. So always take that in consideration, because when people are shopping to see what would be the best option, you need to take into consideration that option 1, which is land, you will need to go every day to the restaurant and eat at lunch, brunch, breakfast, dinner. You will have to spend money on all of that.
Carry your luggage around, like you were saying.
Excursions, driving around, transfers. You don't have to worry about that. Usually when you fly from the US over there, they take into consideration everything. Transfer, so flight, transfer from the airport to the hotel the day before the ship leaves. After the ship arrives at the end of the destination, they transfer you to the hotel for a post hotel if you need to, or directly to the airport, whatever you decide. The package includes everything. So take that into consideration. At the end of the day, it will be cheaper doing that way, and a lot better peace of mind, not have to worry about running to not miss a train and another plane, or going on the highway wondering where to go because the GPS doesn't give you the right information. So take into consideration everything before making a decision. But if you've never been to a certain part of Europe and you are able to do it with the cruise, the river cruising, this will be the best and the most beautiful option for you.
Sold. So there you go, winners. Please make sure you contact Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacation and book your dream vacation river cruise. And again, if you look at the Christmas market next year and beyond, make sure you mention Two for the Win podcast and get a little something.
Yes, you will.
A little something on that. So, all right. Well, thank you, Nick, and thanks, winners, for listening. Please make sure you subscribe, share, and follow Two for the Win podcast. Thanks again for checking in with us, and looking forward to Friday, where we talk about Fanatic Friday in sports. Take care, winners. Be well.
Bye, winners.